Welcome to another video. My name is Christen. I am a personal trainer. I'm an online fitness coach. Today's video, I'm going to talk about why you aren't losing fat and how to solve that. There's a myriad of reasons that can play into why you aren't losing fat. Before I go any further, please, if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that like button. It helps me out tremendously. Leave a comment with any questions that you may have, and now we'll get into it. Why you aren't losing fat. So these are the four main reasons that I see with my clients. And there are a plethora of excuses, reasons why people aren't losing fat, but this is the four main reasons that I see. And I'm going to give you ideas and I'm going to give you solutions on how to solve that fat loss problem. So number one, underestimating calorie intake. So for calorie intake, that just means the amount of calories that you're putting into your body. Everybody, me compared to somebody else that's 5'2", that might weigh 120 pounds, everybody has different energy needs to keep their body working. So you have what's called a basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories that your body burns at rest. And then anything on top of that, any exercise on top of that, slash just normal everyday activity, plays into the amount of calories that your body burns. And when you eat over your calorie intake on a consistent basis, what ends up happening is you store those extra calories or the extra energy for later use, and it gets stored as body fat. So when you're underestimating your calories, somebody might think that they're burning 2,500 to 3,000 calories in a day. And that's just simply not true. One of the things that I see too when it comes to this is the standard American diet that you see on like the back of nutrition labels is usually based off a 2,000 calorie diet. And for some people, their total calorie burn in a day does not reach 2,000 calories. Somebody that might be 5 foot tall that might work at a desk job that's not inherently active at all times of the day, like I might be doing a personal training job, they might not hit the 2,000 calorie mark to break even as their maintenance. And in order to lose weight, in order to cut that fat, you need to be under that calorie goal. So you're underestimating your calorie intake. So that's the amount of calories that you're putting into your body. And that goes from breakfast, lunch, dinner, the snacks, the butters, the oils, everything that you put in your body, the drinks, the Starbucks, as much as you might think of that as a treat, as I deserve this coffee for the morning, you have to play into or take into account how many calories that you're putting into your body with those milks, with those creamers, with those butters that you're using. If you're cooking with a lot of butter, you might be making chicken, but you might be using a couple tablespoons of butter that might jack up your calories just like that. So underestimating your calorie intake. Number two is you're overestimating your eat. So eat is your exercise activity. And then there's also NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity. So people that I see are overestimating their eat, and that's the amount of calories that you're burning by going to the gym. So somebody might think that they can lose weight by just going to the gym. Now, this is true if you're still monitoring your calorie intake. So if you're at maintenance and you've been at maintenance for the last 3 months and you have not exercised, if you stayed at that same maintenance, you ate the same amount of calories and you added exercise in to where you might burn an extra 200 to 300 calories per day or per exercise, depending on how long you're at the gym, you would see weight loss because you're keeping your calorie intake the same, but your exercise is going up, your calorie burn is going up. But what I commonly see is people think that they're burning 600, 800, 1,000 calories when they're at the gym, and that's just simply not true. What ends up happening is usually, unless it's a hard vigorous cardio activity, is you're not burning nearly as many as you might think. Somebody that might be my weight, 210 pounds, compared to somebody that might be 120 pounds, we can do the same amount of treadmill activity, and I would burn more calories, given everything else the same. I would burn more calories just because of my body weight and the amount of work that my body is having to go through to burn those calories, because it's taking on that extra load. So we could walk on the treadmill at 4 speed for 15 minutes and I would burn more calories just because my body is working harder. It's using more energy to keep my organs, to keep my functions working. And what I see for a lot of people is they overestimate how many calories that they're burning at the gym. Somebody might go to the gym for 30 to 45 minutes and go to get a good, nice lift in and get a lot of strength training. But what ends up happening is they're only burning 150 to 200 calories max. You're overestimating. So if you're thinking that you're burning 800 calories at the gym and you're using that as a reason to eat more, just rethink that. So when we talk about the calorie intake, when we set our calories, typically what we do is we take the aggregate of the 7 days of the whole week rather than we play off of one day, because some days you're going to be more active than others. So what we do is we take the aggregate of all of the days combined, and we say, okay, you should eat about this many calories per day to be in a deficit. And what I see some people do, while they're overestimating their exercise activity, they also want to add those calories back in to the amount of calories that they're eating. The whole point of losing weight is you have to eat below your calorie intake or your energy intake. So if you're constantly refueling yourself with those calories that you burned at the gym, and you think that you're burning 600 calories at the gym, and you're adding those in for dinner, and instead of eating 1,800 calories in a deficit, you're now eating at 2,400 calories, which is then putting you over even your maintenance, so it causes you to gain weight. That's just something to keep an eye out for, is quit overestimating your exercise activity. Normally, everybody's different, but I'm going to guess that you're going to burn anywhere from 200 to 400 calories during an hour-long session at the gym. Now, of course, it varies if you're doing straight sprints for the whole time, if you're doing strength training. There's a lot of different factors, but typically you're not burning as many as you might think. The number 3 way, which then is also tied back into underestimating their calorie intake, is the cheat days. So when somebody has a cheat day, not just a cheat meal, but a cheat day, and they say, okay, Sundays are my day that I can just have whatever I want. And then what they end up doing is the 500 calories that they were in a deficit for the previous 6 days, on the 7th day, if you're in a 500 calorie deficit for those 6 days, that's 3,000 calories that you've cut off of your maintenance. What ends up happening is on that 7th day, they think that they can have pizza, wings, regular pop, ice cream. And then what they end up doing is they eat above what they should on their maintenance by 2,500 to 3,000 calories for that one day, which then causes them to stay at the same weight. So when you see somebody like The Rock who's having these big old cheap pancakes and French toast, is what he's doing is throughout the week is he's in a deficit. So then that allows him to have that extra room to play with on those Sundays where you see him eating those cookies and those French toast. But keep in mind that he's not doing that for every single meal. You're just seeing the little snippet that he wants to show you, which then causes us to think, okay, maybe we can do this all the time. But reality is he's really good. I mean, really, really good. Plus he's really active throughout the week too. So his body can bear to take those extra calories. So if you're trying to lose weight, I wouldn't look at a cheat day. I would look at your overall calories and say, how can I fit in foods that I like so I don't have those big blowout days to where I go over on my calories for the deficit that I was already carrying on? But how do I incorporate foods that I like in moderation? And plan for those. But don't just say, okay, now I can rest. It's the 7th day. I'm just going to have whatever I want. Because that's one other reason that you're not losing weight. And the 4th reason is going to be fad diets. So when somebody fad diets, and I'm not going to call keto a fad diet because I know that people can sustain fat loss with keto. But what I see with people is on the 5th day of them doing keto, they're doing a great job on that 5th day. They go out with friends and they put carbs back in their system. They have pasta, they have some drinks, and they put those carbs back in their system, which then causes them to gain that water weight back because what they've lost before, and then they see the scale go back up a little bit that day after, and then they get back on keto for another couple days, and then another day they get back on carbs, and they just keep fluctuating. Once again, I'm not calling keto a fad diet because I know people can have success with keto. Not me personally, but I know people can. But what ends up happening is it doesn't sustain their lifestyle. So you pick a diet that is not sustainable for you. And in honesty, what you need to do when it comes to dieting is have foods that you like in moderation, count your calories, exercise. When you're having those foods that you like, don't make it a cheat day. Don't have that mindset of I can have whatever I want, whenever I want. You're doing it for a purpose, and your purpose is you're wanting to lose fat. And you're gonna see that progress. And it might not be as quickly as you'd like, but you're not gonna gain 30 pounds overnight, and you're not gonna lose 30 pounds overnight. So it's about this lifestyle, and you're trying to make this change for your lifestyle to where, how can I be more healthy, and how can I sustain this for longer term? How can I implement this in the future until I'm 60 years old? And that's finding something that works for you. So if the ultimate goal is to lose fat, you have to pay attention to your overall picture, and you have to have the motivation to do it. You have to have belief in yourself and faith in yourself that you can do it. So underestimating calorie intake, overestimating your exercise activity, cheat days are getting at you, and then fad diets. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email, justin@fitasophical.com. Comment in the section below and let me know if you have any questions there as well. Once again, if you're new to the video, I appreciate you tuning in. It really does blow my mind to think that somebody random out there might be watching this video, and that's awesome. And if you're a returning viewer, I appreciate your support and your ongoing support, because it means so much. All I'm trying to do is help one person out there. And if that person's you, I'm grateful. And that's all I have to say about that. So once again, Justin@fitasophical.com with any questions, or you can visit my website, www.fitasophical.com.